What's up, all you mentees? This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, and happy Friday. Today, I'm going to be talking about a topic that some of you all have been wanting me to do for a long time, and it's pretty much, this episode is just me justifying why I double dip, triple dip, sometimes quadruple dip, or what I would like to formally call this episode, why I upgrade my collected editions. So please stay tuned. Okay, this is the episode I've been dreading, mainly because my wife is going to watch this and be like, what? That was the reasoning? Are you an idiot? But let's see if I actually have a case for the reasons that I decide to upgrade. So let's go ahead and get started with some of these and why I decided to get the bigger version, or the more expensive version rather. We're going to start with the obvious case of Berserk. Berserk to me is my favorite manga. It is the epitome of what an amazing action story can be. So here is the original tankobon that I got from Dark Horse many years ago. You can tell it's kind of small. I've done a size comparison, and you can probably tell too from just watching this video how much bigger the dimensions are. Now these deluxe editions hold 3 of these. Each of these is $12.99, and they range all the way up to $15.99, whereas the deluxe edition is $49.99. One of the biggest reasons why I got this, of course, is because of this wonderful oversized artwork. And not so much so in the earlier volumes, but later on, Miura's art style has so much detail in it that you want to get as much out of each panel as you can. And honestly, the paper quality that they're using for this is this thick matte paper. It's not glossy. And then, of course, the binding. It is sewn binding, as opposed to the flat spine here that we have with the glued binding, and you're going to get gutter loss out of that. Sometimes when I get these, I've already upgraded. For example, the case of Spider-Man, I had the original trade paperbacks, but you all know I love oversized hardcovers. And when these came out, probably about 15 or so years ago, I decided to get these, and these were the best of Spider-Man. However, was it last year that this came out? Oh my goodness. I want to say, yeah, last year that this volume came out. This is the JMS Volume 1. And it's crazy that it's back-ordered already. But it's the same size and dimensions. So one would ask, why the hell did I get this and replace these? Well, these are about 15 years old, and they're holding up. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just that, to me, 2 of these would look so much better than 5 of these. Let me show another example. Here is the case of Garth Ennis's Punisher Max. Here's the 6 oversized hardcovers that make up these 2 omnibus. You see how much slimmer this looks, and I think, honestly, I never did like the design of the numbers at the bottom. I kind of wish they had. Anyway, but they look slimmer, and I think they look better on a shelf than these do. These are $99.99 retail price, whereas these were $29.99 or $34.99 each. So, I mean, there is a little bit of price difference in retail, of course, right? Yeah, that's one of the reasons. Same thing as JMS Spider-Man. The Marvel Epics are another reason why I upgrade, because it makes me get rid of these thinner, smaller, not so greatly built trade paperbacks that I've had over the years for these more amazing, more collected, oversized trades. However, some cases, such as the case of War Machine here, I still have to keep this stupid trade because this Epic Collection only goes to $289. This goes all the way to $291. This, of course, collects a lot more. But, damn it, I still have to keep this for a couple more years until we have the follow-up Epic Collection. And here is the case of the Peter David Incredible Hulk run. We have the 4 original Visionaries and the 2020 Incredible Hulk Volume 1. This story means a lot to me, so I knew I was going to be upgrading because it's Incredible Hulk by Peter David. And I love oversized artwork. You have Todd McFarlane on art, Eric Larson, and then you eventually have Del Keown. But I think that you needed this in oversized format. I mean, you have Todd McFarlane's earliest Marvel works release here. Man. And they just look better in here, and the presentation is better. And that's why I'll also be upgrading my Infinity Crusade trade paperbacks when that omnibus finally comes out later this year. So presentation is important to me. For example, these 2 trade paperbacks came out about 19 years ago. This is the Grant Morrison and Mark Millar run on Flash. And the paper quality, it's kind of bad. The binding, it was pretty bad. They were starting to fall apart. And that's why I upgraded to this trade paperback. It's thicker. It's the complete run, both of theirs. The paper quality is this thick and glossy paper. And the binding is the newer binding. So both of these thicker looking trades are actually in here. Here's another OCD reason I do it, and I hate this about myself, but I have the Kieran Gillen Uncanny X-Men's Volume 1 and 2, and then they released this right here. These don't include the Sword miniseries, but this complete collection does. As a matter of fact, these stopped being hardcover, and they're all standard size, they're not oversized hardcover, as of Volume 3, and those were part of the AVX, the Avengers vs. X-Men. So they weren't even collected in standard size hardcover. That's why I preferred to go with this. Here's another case of where I think the spine on the omnibus looks better than the Ultimates oversized hardcovers. Same material, missing just the annual, but it's all collected in here. All of this in here. And I think this looks better on the shelf than these do. So we know we have a JLA omnibus coming out sometime soon, I hope. I had the original trade paperbacks. I didn't upgrade to the thick ones or upgrade to the oversized hardcovers because in my head I'm like, it's Grant Morrison, it is Justice League, it's JLA. Surely one day DC will release an omnibus. And this is a custom one that my boy Kyle, big shout out to him, got me last year. I think he got me a set of JLA custom bound omnis because much like me, he was just tired of waiting on DC, and they finally announced it. It's orphaned some issues that I'm not happy about, but I'm still going to upgrade because it's oversized format. So that's one of the reasons why I upgrade, because I've had these for 15 years and it's time to get a better format. So I do have a rule when it comes to upgrading. This is a very important rule. So here's Jack of Fables. This is the original trade paperback. Let me just show you why I upgraded. Because of the paper quality, it's starting to yellow a little bit. I've had it for over a decade. And here's the deluxe edition with sewn binding, glossy, thick paper. My rule with Fables, I waited 3 years for the oversized hardcovers to be out. It's also an oversized format, I forgot to mention that. And I did the same thing with Superior Spider-Man, my oversized hardcover. And it's a 3-year rule, and you don't have to follow this. And my rule is, if it's been out for 3 years and there is no sign of an omnibus or an absolute coming out, then I go ahead and get the oversized hardcover. The Superior Spider-Man oversized hardcovers, there's 3 of them. I could have sworn Marvel was going to do an omnibus. 100%. If I was a betting man, I would have told people, wait, don't get those oversized hardcovers. There's an omnibus coming. And I would have lost because we never got one. So 3 years after these were released, I think Volume 2 started going out of print. So I was like, damn it. I'm just going to go ahead and buy it. And I did. I bought all 3 of the hardcovers. And same thing with Fables and Jack of Fables. I waited 3 years. No sign of any omnibus. So I said, all right. The deluxe editions, they're oversized format. They're as tall as omnis. I'm going to go ahead and get that. Because I love the story so much. It means so much to me that I want to upgrade it. And then there were rumors of an absolute, not even rumors, it was solicited, and then they pulled it from the catalog, and now a Compendium's coming out. So I'm happy I went with the deluxe hardcover route, because these stories mean so much to me. And that's another thing. The stories have to mean something to me in order to upgrade, otherwise I would be just constantly upgrading every year. I've had these showcases ever since they came out. They're the black and white, what we call telephone books. Really cheaply made. I think this was $15, if not less. Nope, $16.99. This is the showcase. Marvel had their own versions, too, of the black and white reprints. But then DC decided to start doing them in full color with nice, thick, glossy paper, sewn binding. Of course, the price range is a little bit different. It's $100 compared to this. But this is the way that I love collecting them. And I know I say my DC universe doesn't start until Crisis on Infinite Earths, but I love these stories. I'm a big fan of EC horror and creepy and eerie magazines, so that's why I decided to get these. So the stories do have to mean something to me, like I said in Fables. And that's why I decided to get Preacher. I've done an overview. No, I didn't. I showed it off on my haul. But here it is. Compared to my trade paperbacks that I never upgraded to deluxe hardcovers or fat trades, I knew an omnibus was going to come, and it is, but I decided to get these just because of the presentation. If you look at this, oh my goodness, it's just a beautiful book, and it means a lot to me. So I go on about how much I love oversized hardcovers, right? I'm like, oh, I love oversized hardcovers because of oversized artwork. I'm not the biggest Steve Dillon fan. I'm sorry to those that are. He's not one of my favorite writers, but this story spoke so much to me that I had to own it in this absolute beautiful presentation too, format. So presentation is very important to me. Even though there's a huge price difference, here's the Meta Barons, and you all know how much I love Juan Jimenez, and this is also, of course, Jodorowsky's work. But here's the original hardcover, and here is the slipcase. I mean, this is a $200 retail price slipcase, whereas this is a $49.99 hardcover. Same reason I upgraded my Bone. This is the softcover original one that I had, collecting all Bone in black and white format. And then this is the slipcase that has it in color. It's the all-in-one. And here we have the Rising Stars Compendium with the slipcase. The compendiums aren't built really well. That's why I'm not excited for the Fables Compendium. They're glued binding, and even though the pages are in bunches, not sure if you can tell there, they have a hard time staying in. After a few read-throughs, the spine starts cracking. Whereas the slipcase is in hardcover, it has sewn binding, it has a big eye right there. This is a series I don't hear enough people talk about, so I may put it in my hidden gems. This is Straczynski's Rising Stars. So when talking about some of these, I mentioned binding. Here we have the case of Darkstalkers. All of this is pretty much collected in the hardcover. This came out probably about 7 or 8 years ago, but it has glued binding, and my Street Fighter one started to crack and the pages started coming out. So Udon has learned a lot of how to put a book together. I mean, this is the newer release one. It has sewn binding. There's that eye. And it's the exact same content. The other thing is that these are the exact same price. They're both $49.99, and that's freaking crazy. So I mentioned how content is important to me. So even regardless of how much I like the artwork, if a book means something to me, then I will upgrade it just to have the best special limited edition or whatever it is. And most of these aren't even limited. Well, maybe some people will beg to differ recently with the just lack of printing of newer books. But anyway, here we have Day Tripper. I'm a huge fan of the deluxe edition, but this Absolute with Gabriel Ba's artwork, oh man, it's beautiful. And I can't mention beautiful without talking about Overture. Just the artwork of J.H. Williams in oversized format. Oh my goodness, it was worth it. I debated it. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep my oversized hardcover. Nah, I folded and I got that. And even Marvel does this. This is great when they do this. So this is the 10th anniversary of Marvel's. This is the 25th anniversary. I got this 15 years ago. They added a one-shot with all the covers, all the variant covers that Alex Ross did. So of course the upgrade made perfect sense. They're both the same price. I lied. They're not the same price. This one's $50. This one's $49.99. I am a liar. My bad. So here's more justification for my maddening way of thinking. I mentioned content, and here's 0 Hour and Final Crisis. Both of these events weren't my favorites, but taking into account how many issues of 0 Hour are collected in here, all the crossover, all the things that happen during the 0 Hour event with all the DC titles. Same thing here, all the miniseries. I was like, it was no question I had to upgrade to the Omnis when they came out. And here's where I lose you, maybe, if I haven't lost you already with all my rambling. But I also talk about how much I don't like certain runs, Chuck Austin's run on X-Men and Daniel Way's run on Deadpool. But I upgraded to the omnibus and I upgraded to the complete collections just because they look better on the shelf. And I am an X-Men fanatic. I hate that about myself. I am an idiot and I double dipped. So take this video with a grain of salt. Maybe don't listen to what I'm saying. Maybe I just like to justify things. Or maybe I'm just trying to find some common brothers and sisters out there that love to upgrade as much as I do. Even if you're not an X fan, if you're a Spider-Man fan, or whatever you're into, whatever you decided to upgrade, let me know. Now, if you want to upgrade your collected editions, check out our sponsor,
cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off the cover price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on packaging your books so they arrive safely and in excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. And check out their bargain bin for even greater deals up to 90% off cover price. And for you minties, Cheap Graphic Novels is running a special promotion. If you're a first-time customer, let them know you were referred by Near Mint Condition at the checkout, and you'll receive a credit for free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for U.S. customers. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discounts, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more.
And that was my reasoning. I'm pretty much just justifying why I do it. but I would love to know those comments down below why you all upgrade, or even if you downgraded sometimes. If you thought the omnibus was too big or the absolute was too large, phrasing, and you wanted to get the trade paperback version because it's easier to read, or the epic collections. Let me know in those comments down below. Again, this was the Uncanny Omar. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button. You can check us out on Patreon and Redbubble. Those are great ways to support the channel if you can do so. And thank you to our existing patrons. And more importantly, please everybody remember to stay healthy, stay safe out there, and much love to all of you.